Hi, hello. Welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. I hope that y'all are doing well. Y'all, is anybody else just feeling like utter chaos for like no reason at all? Because that's how I feel. I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you so much for spending some extra time with me today. Collective, we have Kairos and the Self, the Shaman, the Father, and the Gem. Well, yesterday's general read was like heavy on self-reflection, and I feel like today's is kind of in that same energy of just, I get the idea of like watching yourself, right? Watching yourself grow, watching yourself change, watching yourself, like seeing how you went from being one person to another person to another person, right? And how you're still you through all of it, but it's just kind of like the many variations of you, right? Like the parts of you that you were holding on to and the parts of you that were loved and then hated. And you know what I mean? It's just kind of like this, like the sum total of who you are as a person. There's this book, and I cannot remember the name of it to save my life. I wish I could, because I would go back and read it again. But it's about this woman, and she becomes involved in like an ecstatic dance. And she ends up traveling the world, and this man is in love with her, and as a result he studies her and he follows her life, and then he writes a book about her. And she's there's so many parts to this book, but he goes back and he interviews all the people in her life, like from the time that she was a young child up into the point where, I don't remember if she had passed. It's been, oh my God, almost like a decade since I read this book probably. But it's like he meets people who love her, who understand her, who hate her, who are intimidated by her, who compete with her. You know what I mean? Like he interviews her lovers and her husband, and you know what I mean? Like there's just, but he writes this book that offers a perspective of the entirety of one person, because the thing about people is that we're multifaceted, right? So that is one of the things that I really love about astrology, because you realize, like people want to associate themselves with their sun sign, and yes, that's our ego, that's who we feel like we are the most. I've noticed that people who have stelliums tend to like harbor the most characteristic traits from that, because like my dad's a Scorpio stellium, I'm a Leo stellium, Rue is a Sag stellium. I don't think Josiah has any stelliums. He's a solid mixture of perfection. but there's more strength in that sign, there's more power in that sign. And yet that's not the entirety of your experience, right? Your rising sign is how other people experience you. Like your Mars is your ambition, your sex, your drive, you know what I mean? Like Venus is your aesthetic and just like how you like to express your love and how you like to be perceived, just like externally. Like there's so many facets to us, so we can watch any of the signs that we have in any given area of our lives and feel like we're resonating with a piece of that story. And I love that because I feel like it ties into an idea of the collective, right? Like we are all one energy experiencing itself through different life experiences, and so we do all come in with it like a sense of connectedness. Which is why I think that there's such like an assault on the idea of like divide and conquer. And so people have ways that they identify outside of self, outside of spirit, whether that's our occupation or like our friend group, or the brands that we buy or the music that we listen to. It's just kind of like, and then we divide ourselves accordingly. And it's fine to align yourself with people who resonate with you, because those are the people that you're going to be able to build with. But the issue is when you find yourself in conflict with others for being different. You know, and we also live in a world that's very colonized and very accustomed to one way of thinking and one way of doing. You know, and even though we're existing in the collapse of it all, you know, there's still this clinging to identity. So whether we're going like grand scale society or like personal individual scale, just things that have gone on in your life, you know, and like the history of you and understanding yourself and understanding your place in the world. And just like, I feel like this very like singular, multifaceted, collective energy. I just talked for like 5 minutes, and I hope that it makes sense and ties into the resonation of it all, because I feel like that's where you're discovering your value. And it takes time to really gather all of these different ideas, all of these different stories, all these different images, all of these different perceptions and approaches, and where is the root of it all, you know? And when you find the root of each of those, like how can you find, you know, it's like you can find a plant, but like there are other plants that are in that plant family, you know what I mean? But like until you're familiar with the details of it, you can't really understand the details elsewhere. Okay, I'm starting to wonder if I'm making any sense, so we're just gonna do some clarifiers. Sorry. Okay, I hope everyone's doing well, having a wonderful day. I was making a pizza for lunch, and a piece, like just like a little piece of cheese like dripped over the edge, and smoke was everywhere. Like opening doors, people think I can't work a stove, I mean an oven. It's fine. Okay, so yeah, we have the Five of Swords, which is just this idea of like being under attack and feeling like you can't say anything right, so you're just not going to say anything at all. You know what I mean? And I think in a lot of ways recognizing, you know, like why things just aren't going to work, you know, like, no, I see, I get it, I hear you, you know what I mean? Like that, you're right, that won't work, and this is why. You know, I feel like just this like recognition of all the times that we held on to something, that we needed to let it go. And I think seeing things very differently, you know, just in a way that feels very, just like it's a spirit of forgiveness, you know, for yourself, honestly, because I just feel like this, like when you see yourself differently, it's so much easier to see everyone differently. When you see yourself through eyes of forgiveness, it is so much easier to see through the eyes of forgiveness to the world, right? It's so much easier to like operate in balance. And I think that it proves to be very, you know, beneficial and lucrative for you, that you've gone on this journey. We have the Three of Wands. This is a trip card, so some of y'all could be going on a trip. Maybe some of you guys have somebody who's coming to visit you. I don't know, because you can be on either side of the story and take what resonates and leave the rest, because this is a general read in the most general of terms. Okay, let's see what else we can get. Two of Wands. Ten of Pentacles again. Okay. We have, okay, so I'm going to start with the Nine of Pentacles, because this is the idea, again, of self-satisfaction. You know, it's just kind of this idea of like, I don't need anything from anyone. You know what I mean? Like, I am able to find my light and live my life and go towards things that go toward things that bring me joy and happiness, you know. And it's just kind of like this, you've been working on yourself, you've been focusing, you've been paying attention to what you need to pay attention to, I think, to the point where Because here's a crutch that I think that, or a bump that I think a lot of us hit in the healing journey. Because especially the rhetoric that's thrown around with it, right? Like everyone wants to call everybody a narcissist. Oh, you're self-involved. Oh, you're making life decisions on your own behalf. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, you narcissist. You know what I mean? Um, and while, yes, I do think that we live in a society that tends to exhibit more frequently, like character traits that are similar to like narcissism, I don't think that everyone in the world is a full-blown narcissist, right? And so, like I think that it just serves as like a form of division when you start taking on the hat of, PhD psychiatrist, thinking that you can just call anyone that pisses you off something against their mental health. You know what I mean? Like, for a society that supports mental health, it really just beats the shit out of it. But again, I think there's just this idea of like focusing on yourself, working on yourself, and not listening to what is being laid against you. Not because when you're working on yourself, the thing about narcissism is that narcissists will seek and destroy, right? Like they want to criticize everything about you, and they want to like make it impossible for you to ever even have a voice, and they want to shut you down and push you out, but like they want to know that you need them, right? I mean, it's all a power play when you're in a battle with narcissism. When you are just focusing on yourself and working on yourself, you are not fighting the world. You are figuring out who you are and how you operate and what you're doing. And yes, that requires an element of shutting out like the voices of others and the perspectives and the needs and the like all of those things from others. But the only way you are ever going to sincerely be able to show up for others is if you are wholly yourself, right? Because you can only love others as much as you love yourself. And we are not living in a world that encourages self-love. Not really. Some of that bullshit self-care, self-love stuff, but not real love, not gritty, raw love. But I feel like that's what you've been working on, like loving yourself, the gritty, the nasty, you know what I mean? What is that movie in Silver Lining Playbooks? And he's like, he calls her like a dead wife's slut or something like that. And she gets really mad at him, and she's like, you know what, I am all of these things, but I love that about myself, and can you say the same about you? Because I feel like you're coming out of your cocoon, you're releasing this protective shell that you've been in, and you're loving yourself in a way that says, okay, but can you love yourself too? And I think that you're partnering with, people, a person, I don't know how it resonates for us individually, but in a way that just, I think, loves you too, loves themselves the way that you love yourself, because that's how you rise up, that's how you rise above, that's how you gain and grow your abundance, is by loving and being your best self, right? It's not because anybody told you what to do or how to think, or you know what I mean. It's because you learned how to love yourself. And when you learn how to love yourself, you stop listening to other people when they want to give you reasons to not love yourself. Like, why would you even say something like that to somebody? Do you know what I mean? And then you start holding boundaries, and you start attracting a lot healthier relationships into your life. And it's all uphill in a good way. The Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of Pentacles. You've got the Ten of Pentacles twice, the Knight of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles. I just feel like whatever it is that you're releasing, like you are stepping into so much abundance. And I love this. Okay. Collective. Let's pull one last card for us, and then we'll call it a read. Bridge. Yes, just moving up, moving on, like moving in directions that are aligned with you, moving into an energy that resonates with you, because part of changing your frequency is removing the ties from the lower frequencies so that you can really, I was in one of my, I can't remember whose read it was, but they were like, they bubbled back up at the end, you know, like a bubble that's pulled on and it's kind of oblong, and then when it's not being pulled on, it just bounces back into this perfect orb. um and I feel that energy here of just, you know, like when you pull your energy back together again and you learn how to love yourself wholly, you know, the gritty parts of you, the raw parts of you, you know, the parts of you that you were just told to be and accepted as though that were the only way it could be. You know what I mean? Like the conditioning and the, you know, like just all of the things. And understanding how it all came into play and understanding how you're moving past it and moving. I just feel like this, like a shift in frequency. And I'm so thankful for that. All right, y'all. If this does resonate with you, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. And I will see y'all again soon. Bye.